second session of this 110th Congress as it gets underway. And I just want to start by saying how disappointed I am that we are here at the end of January, and the Democrat leadership in the Congress has failed to name Senate and House members to conference on the 2007 Farm Bill. Instead, we've got the two Ag Committee chairmen who have been meeting separately with the USDA, and so far nothing to show for their efforts. And in my view, what we need to do in terms of moving this process forward is just a few critical steps. First, the Democrat leadership in the House and the Senate need to announce and need to name their Farm Bill conferees and do it immediately. The conferees need to begin meeting so that they can iron out the policy differences between the House bill and the Senate bill and come to an agreement on how the Farm Bill is going to be funded, because there are differences between the House and the Senate on that point. The Ag Committee members need to begin receiving input on the conference agreement as they come to agreement on these differences. Need to receive input from the Ag community. And then finally, as a unified body, the Conference Committee needs to bring USDA into this and try to reach an agreement so that we can get a bill that ultimately will be signed by the President. But then that Conference Committee needs to report back to the Congress so we can pass a final Farm Bill and get it on to the President for his consideration. And it seems, at least to me, inexcusable that we're already almost to the end of January, and we saw the 2002 Farm Bill expire in September, only to be extended, and now here we are 6 weeks after the Senate passed its Farm Bill, and we're getting closer and closer to failing to meet the March 15th deadline, which is when the previous Farm Bill, 2002 Farm Bill extension expires. So we don't even have conferees named, we don't have anything really happening, and I think it's important for the Democrat leadership to quit squabbling between the House and the Senate and to take decisive action to complete the Farm Bill process. If we don't do anything, if Congress doesn't act before that March 15th deadline, we would revert to what they call permanent farm law, and that is 1949 policy that would govern agricultural policy for South Dakota, and that certainly would not be the best outcome for producers in South Dakota. So it's time to quit the finger pointing and work as a team, Republicans and Democrats, as we did in passing a very strong bipartisan Farm Bill out of the Ag Committee and on the Senate floor, and get this Farm Bill done once and for all. Yesterday, the House of Representatives passed the roughly $150 billion stimulus package, and it now moves to the Senate. The Senate Finance Committee is scheduled to mark up their version of that bill today. Although I don't think that the House-passed stimulus package is perfect, it is certainly a step in the right direction. I would like to see some of the money in that stimulus bill going toward road building and other infrastructure projects. By investing in America's infrastructure, we not only create jobs and pump money into local economies, but we also help states address critical infrastructure needs that are only going to grow more expensive with time. Yesterday, Senator Ron Wyden from Oregon, who's a Democrat, and I, along with several other senators, sent a letter to the House and Senate leadership urging that $5 billion of the economic stimulus package be targeted for transportation infrastructure projects that can be started immediately. By focusing on the money on those types of projects that are ready to begin now, we would also be gaining the short-term benefit of creating jobs and the long-term benefit of improving our roads and highways. And I think if you look at the numbers, they speak for themselves. Nationwide, we've got over 3,000 highway and bridge improvement projects that are ready to be constructed. In South Dakota, the DOT tells us there are 142 projects that total $182 million that are ready for construction that could be let to contract, and construction can get underway in the next 60 days, 60 to 90 days, I suppose, with our weather in South Dakota. But when these projects are ready to go, it would be, the supplies would be purchased, workers would start receiving and spending their paychecks, and I just think that infrastructure spending is one of the best investments the federal government can make in the economy. Every dollar that you spend on infrastructure generates about $5.70 in economic activity, and for every $1 billion that is provided for infrastructure, about 47,000 jobs are created. So it's important that we get a stimulus package passed quickly, and that the things that are done in the stimulus package actually stimulate the economy. And it's equally bill, as I said, is probably going to be on the Senate floor as early as this evening. It is, although I have hopes that we could do some things in infrastructure in the bill, I think that's probably, it may be very difficult to, if we're able to do that, to keep all the other things, the bells and whistles and the ornaments that get hung on Christmas trees around here from being added. And so the simplest thing at this point may be to try and get the House bill passed and to get the rebate checks out there as soon as possible. But we'll keep you posted on how things go as the Senate moves to consideration of that bill, perhaps as early as later today. The last thing I'll say is the Senate's been dealing with the Indian health measures and preparing to deal with other measures that are important to Indian country. And as you know, I've been working to bolster law enforcement on the reservations to help combat the problem of crime that we hear about a lot as I travel in our reservation counties. When the Indian health care bill comes back to the Senate floor, I'm hoping to include a measure in that bill that would require an in-depth study of the tribal court system and offer ideas about how to improve it. If we're going to improve life in Indian country, one of the first steps is to provide a basic level of security. So we're hoping to be able to do that. We, as I said, the Indian Health Care Improvement Act was on the floor. It got pulled here in the last couple of weeks to deal with some other things, including the economic stimulus bill. But we're going to be back on it soon. I hope we can get that passed. I hope we can include some of these measures that will address the fundamental issue of providing security for people on the reservations. That's kind of the lay of the land today. So if anybody has any questions, I try and answer them.